Everyday Rapture is this beautiful piece. It is Sherry Renee Scott's life story, and it just really tells about her Mennonite past and how she grew from this small town religious beginning into this big, incredible Broadway star.
It's a piece about a woman who's torn in two different directions. On one hand, she's somebody who has a very, very strong desire to be self-expressive and celebrated and seen for everything that she is. And on the other, she has, partially because of coming from a Mennonite background, a feeling that any desire to be self-expressive, celebrated and seen is wrong, ungodly, and sinful.
You know, my dream was to always write, a play with music or be involved in a play with music. And I did a John Guare play at Signature that I loved, that was everyone thought was so strange, and it was a play with music, Landscape of the Body, and I just loved that experience. So after that I said, hey, I think we can write something, that it is not cannot be categorized, necessarily.
We thought, gee, this might be an interesting sort of evening where you're telling stories that are true except when they're not. And you're sort of creating a version of yourself that isn't you, and yet on another level is. So that's really how we approached it.
There's sort of a vaudeville type element to it in that she just kind of keeps going throughout the story. The show really never stops. For her, she never leaves the stage. It segues between different styles of music, for sure.
A lot of it is music that by artists that I really love. David Byrne, U2. Tom Waits, George Harrison, and then a lot of it is music that Dick and Michael Mayer forced me to sing that I wasn't really sure about doing. Some songs made famous by Judy Garland that I did not want to touch, with anything, but they actually really work in the piece.
I've loved Sherry Renee Scott ever since I can remember. I mean, I loved her in the last 5 years. I never got to see it, but I lived by the soundtrack. I loved Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. That was my favorite show for years. And I remember going to the audition and not thinking I would see her there, but then being able to look at her at the table is just so exciting for me.
She is one of the most captivating performers that I've ever worked with, Sherry. And I wouldn't miss this. I would not miss this for the world.
It's a unique experience, a funny, ultimately I think moving, without being sentimental or sugary. And I think it really pertains to a lot of people's lives right now.
It's really special, and you'll leave having every one of your senses like totally filled.
I'm not going to say people's heads will explode, but like something close to that. Some kind of spontaneous mind, epiphany could happen, and just to be prepared for that.